Can you trace this? That's what Dennis Rader asked police in 2005. The same Dennis Rader who had been killing families for over 30 years, the same man who called himself BTK. Bind, torture, kill. Police told him no. They lied. And that one lie brought down one of America's most dangerous serial killers. You're about to hear 10 confessions so unbelievable, so shocking, that they sound like fiction. But every single word is true. These are real criminals who basically turned themselves in, sometimes by accident, sometimes on purpose, but always in ways that will blow your mind. Let me take you back to Wichita, Kansas, 1974. The Otero family is having breakfast when their doorbell rings. Mom, Dad, and 2 kids. A normal morning that's about to become a nightmare. Dennis Rader walks in. He kills all 4 of them. For the next 17 years, he terrorizes Wichita. He kills 10 people total, families, single women, anyone he wants. And here's the sick part. He loves the attention. He sends letters to newspapers. He calls himself BTK. He wants everyone to know his name. Then in 1991, he just stops, goes quiet. People think maybe he's dead, maybe he moved away. The case goes cold. But before we get to the crazy part, and trust me, it gets crazy, hit that subscribe button. We're covering 9 more unbelievable confessions after this. And you don't want to miss what happens when a bank robber accidentally confesses on live TV. Seriously, subscribe now. So Rader goes quiet for 13 years, 13 years of silence. He gets married, has kids, becomes a church leader. People see him as this normal guy in the community. But inside, he's dying for attention. In 2004, the 30th anniversary of his first murders comes up. Newspapers start writing about BTK again, and Rader can't handle it. He needs the spotlight back, so he does something incredibly stupid. He starts sending letters again. Pictures of his victims. Details only the killer would know. Police know BTK is back. But here's where it gets unbelievable. Rader gets cocky. He wants to send more information, but he's worried about being caught. So in February 2005, he sends a letter to a TV station with a question. Can I communicate with floppy disk without being traced to a computer? The police see this letter and they have a choice. Tell the truth or lie. They lie. They send the message back through the newspaper. Rex, it will be okay. No way to trace a floppy disk. Rex was the fake name Rader was using. 3 weeks later, a purple floppy disk shows up at a TV station. Rader actually believed them. He thought he was safe. Police put the disk into a computer. They click on the properties of a deleted Word document. And right there, clear as day, it shows the last person who used it. Dennis Rader. Christ Lutheran Church. It took them 5 minutes on Google to find out Dennis Rader was the president of that church. They arrested him at his home the next day. But wait, it gets even more unbelievable. When they arrest him, Rader is almost relieved, like he wanted to get caught. In his confession, he talks about his crimes like he's reading a grocery list. No emotion, no remorse, just facts. I bound them, tortured them, killed them, matter of fact. He drew maps of where he hid evidence. He showed them pictures he took of his victims. He confessed to everything because finally, he had an audience that had to listen. The man who spent 30 years hiding became the man who couldn't stop talking. Dennis Rader got life in prison with no chance of parole. All because he believed a lie and his ego was bigger than his brain. One floppy disk. That's all it took to catch one of America's most dangerous killers. But if you think that's unbelievable, wait until you hear about the mob boss who confessed to 19 murders just to prove he wasn't lying about a smaller crime. That's coming up next. Case 2. Henry Lee Lucas. He confessed to killing 600 people. I killed over 600 people. Those words came out of Henry Lee Lucas's mouth in 1983. 600 people. That would make him the most prolific serial killer in American history. Police across the country were thrilled. Finally, they could solve hundreds of cold cases. Families would get closure. Justice would be served. There was just one problem. He was lying about most of them. Let me explain how one man fooled the entire American justice system and wasted millions of dollars in the process. Henry Lee Lucas was a drifter, a petty criminal with a glass eye and a mean streak. Born in Virginia to an abusive mother who dressed him like a girl and beat him senseless. His childhood was a nightmare that turned him into a walking disaster. In 1983, he gets arrested for illegal gun possession in Texas. Nothing major. Should have been a simple case, maybe a few months in jail. But Lucas is sitting in that cell, and he notices something. The guards treat the serious criminals differently. The murderers get better food, more privileges, more attention. They get respect. Lucas wants that respect. So he tells a guard, "I got something to say about some murders." That guard listens. And Lucas spins a story about killing his girlfriend, Becky, and her elderly landlord. The details are good, really good. He knows things only the killer would know. Police believe him. Word spreads fast. Detectives from other states start showing up at the jail. They bring thick folders, crime scene photos, files of unsolved murders that have haunted them for years. And Lucas starts talking. "Yeah, I did that one too." "Oh, that lady in the parking lot? Yeah, I killed her." "That family in Ohio? That was me and my partner Otis." The confessions keep coming. 10 murders. 20, 50, 100. Police are writing furiously, taking notes, closing cases left and right. Lucas becomes the golden boy of law enforcement. They move him to a special cell, give him steak dinners, let him smoke cigarettes, treat him like a celebrity informant. And Lucas is loving every second of it. He's getting attention he never had as a kid, respect he never earned. 3 meals a day and a warm bed. All he has to do is keep talking. So he keeps confessing. By 1984, he's up to 200 murders. By 1985, over 600. The FBI creates a special task force just for Lucas. Hundreds of detectives are working around the clock to verify his confessions. They're flying him around the country to visit crime scenes. Lucas is living better than he ever has in his entire life. Here's where it gets crazy. Lucas is describing details he shouldn't know, but he's also making impossible claims. He's talking about snow in Florida in July, mountains in Kansas, killing someone in California on the same day he was documented in a Texas jail. But police want to believe him so badly that they ignore the red flags. They're under pressure to solve cases. Lucas is their golden ticket. The police are even helping him lie without realizing it. They show him crime scene photos before he confesses. They tell him details about the murders, then act surprised when he repeats those same details back to them. It's like giving someone the answers to a test, then being amazed when they get everything right. Meanwhile, Lucas is studying these cops like a psychology textbook. He learns exactly what they want to hear. The more gruesome, the better. The more detailed, the more they believe him. Then in 1985, a journalist named Hugh Ainsworth starts asking questions. He's covered crime for decades, and something doesn't smell right about Lucas. Ainsworth starts digging. He looks at Lucas's work records, his prison time, his travel patterns. He talks to people who knew Lucas, tracks down his actual whereabouts during these murders. And he discovers something shocking. Lucas was physically impossible to have committed most of these murders. He was in jail in Texas when a murder happened in California. He was working at a roofing job in Florida when someone was killed in Colorado. He didn't even own a car for most of the time period he claimed to be driving around killing people. The math doesn't work. The timeline is impossible. Lucas has been lying about almost everything. The truth finally comes out in 1986. A Texas prosecutor named Vic Feasel realizes that Lucas has been running the biggest con job in criminal justice history. Out of those 600 confessions, Lucas probably only committed 3 murders. Maybe 5 at most. 3 murders. Not 600, 3. Lucas spent the rest of his life in prison, not for the 600 murders he confessed to, but for the handful he actually committed. He died in 2001, taking the truth about which confessions were real to his grave. In the end, Henry Lee Lucas got exactly what he wanted. He became famous. He got attention. He got better treatment. And all it cost was the integrity of the American justice system and millions of taxpayer dollars. The man who wanted respect so badly that he became America's biggest liar proved that sometimes the most dangerous confession is the one that isn't true. Because when you're lying about murder, everyone loses except you. Case 3. Luka Magnotta, the online confessions. Catch me if you can. That's basically what Luka Magnotta was saying to the entire world in 2012. Not through letters or phone calls like old school killers, through the internet. This wannabe model from Canada turned murder into a twisted social media game. And his confession wasn't spoken in some police station. It was performed online for millions to see. This is the story of how internet trolls became real-life detectives and caught a killer who couldn't stop bragging about what he'd done. It starts with cats. In 2010, videos start appearing online showing someone torturing and killing kittens. Sick, disturbing stuff that most people scroll past as fast as possible. But not everyone scrolls past. A group of internet users, mostly on Facebook, decide they've had enough. They call themselves amateur investigators. Cat lovers. People who refuse to let animal abuse slide. They start hunting for the person making these videos. They analyze backgrounds, study furniture, examine reflections in windows. They're like CSI agents working from their bedrooms. And they're good at it. They figure out the videos are coming from Canada, narrow it down to Montreal, even identify locations. But they can't find the killer. Meanwhile, the person making these videos is watching their investigation. He's reading their Facebook posts, seeing their progress. And instead of getting scared, he's getting excited. His name is Luka Magnotta, a 29-year-old narcissist who's been trying to become famous his whole life. He's done escort work, tried modeling, even claimed to be dating serial killers. Nothing worked. But now, finally, people are paying attention to him. So he escalates. May 25, 2012, Magnotta uploads a video called One Lunatic, One Ice Pick. I'm not going to describe what's in it, but it shows him murdering a young man named Jun Lin. It's not just a murder, it's a performance. Magnotta is calm, methodical. He's filming it like a movie director. And here's what proves this whole thing is about attention. He doesn't try to hide the video. He uploads it to multiple websites. He makes sure it spreads. He wants the whole world to watch. After posting the murder video, Magnotta starts playing games with police. He sends body parts through the mail to politicians. He leaves clues everywhere. But the truly insane part? He creates fake accounts pretending to be other people discussing his crimes. He writes things like, "The real Luka Magnotta is much smarter than police think, and he's probably already in another country by now." He's literally having conversations with himself online about his own murder case. It's like he's directing his own true crime documentary in real time. The same internet investigators who were tracking him for the cat videos are now working around the clock. They're sharing information with police, analyzing every frame of his videos, every detail of his social media posts. And Magnotta keeps feeding them clues because he can't help himself. He posts photos from cafes in Paris. He uses computers at internet cafes that have security cameras. He's practically drawing a map of where he's going. The internet detectives track his movements through his own posts. They're literally following his digital confession trail across multiple countries. Meanwhile, Magnotta creates Wikipedia pages about himself. He edits articles about his case to make himself sound more intelligent, more dangerous. He's managing his own PR campaign while on the run for murder. Think about that. Most killers try to disappear after committing murder. Magnotta is trying to trend on social media. The end comes in Berlin. Magnotta walks into an internet cafe to check what people are saying about him online. The cafe employee recognizes him from news reports. Police arrest him while he's literally reading articles about himself. In 2014, he's convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. But even during the trial, he's performing. Posing for cameras, trying to look dramatic. Luka Magnotta never gave a traditional confession in a police station. His confession was his entire online presence. Every video, every post, every fake account was him screaming, "Look at me, look what I did." He wanted to be famous so badly that he confessed to murder in the most public way possible, the internet. And in a twisted way, he got exactly what he wanted. People are still talking about him today. There's a Netflix documentary. His name is known around the world. But fame from behind prison bars isn't quite the same as the fame he dreamed of. Magnotta's digital confession trail led him straight to a life sentence. All because he couldn't resist the urge to brag about what he'd done. In the age of social media, even confessions go viral. Case 4, Aileen Wuornos, the cold prison confession. "I killed them in self-defense, all 7 of them." Aileen Wuornos said those words like she was ordering coffee. No emotion, no tears, no remorse. Just facts. This is the story of America's first widely known female serial killer, and the confession that shocked a courtroom into complete silence. December 1990, Florida police arrest a woman named Aileen Wuornos for outstanding warrants. She's a prostitute, a drifter, someone most people would walk past without a second glance. They have no idea they just caught one of the most dangerous women in America. For over a year, men had been turning up dead along Florida highways. 7 men total, all shot with the same gun. All found in remote areas. All killed execution style. Police knew they had a serial killer on their hands. They just never thought it would be a woman. But as they investigate Wuornos, the pieces start falling into place. The timeline matches. The locations match. And when they find the murder weapon in a lake she mentioned, they know they have their killer. Most people would lawyer up. Deny everything, fight the charges, not Aileen. When detectives sit down with her for questioning, she does something almost unheard of in serial killer cases. She confesses to everything. No emotion, no hesitation. No indication that she's talking about taking a human life. One by one, she goes through all 7 murders. Each confession delivered in the same chilling, matter-of-fact tone. I shot him because he tried to hurt me. He wouldn't stop, so I killed him. It was self-defense. The detectives are stunned. They've interviewed hundreds of criminals, but they've never seen anything like this. Most killers either deny everything or break down emotionally when they confess. Aileen talks about murder the way most people talk about their commute to work. During her trial, she takes the stand in her own defense. The courtroom is packed. Media from around the world are watching. Everyone wants to hear from America's first female serial killer. And Aileen doesn't disappoint. She tells her story in that same flat, emotionless voice. She describes her childhood of abuse, her life on the streets, her work as a prostitute. She explains how each of these men tried to assault her. I was just protecting myself, she says, looking directly at the jury. Any woman would have done the same thing. But here's what makes her confession so unbelievable. Aileen shows absolutely zero remorse. Zero guilt. Zero indication that she thinks she did anything wrong. When the prosecutor asks if she feels bad about killing 7 people, she shrugs. They got what they deserved. The jury is horrified. This isn't a broken woman who snapped under pressure. This is someone who killed 7 men and feels completely justified about it. Even her own defense team is disturbed by her attitude. They're trying to save her life, and she's sitting there acting like she's the victim. The most chilling moment comes when the prosecutor asks her if she would kill again if given the chance. Aileen thinks for a moment. Then, in that same flat voice, she says, "If someone tried to hurt me again, yeah, I'd kill them too." The courtroom goes dead silent. She's not just confessing to past murders. She's promising future ones. The jury deliberates for less than 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. Death penalty. Aileen shows no reaction to the verdict. No tears, no anger, no surprise, just that same blank stare. In later interviews from death row, she maintains that same chilling tone. She talks about her crimes like they're something that happened to someone else. Like she's discussing a movie she once saw. "I don't understand why people are so upset," she says in one interview. "I was just defending myself." Aileen Wuornos was executed in 2002. Her last words were about the media coverage of her case. Even facing death, she was more concerned about her image than the lives she took. Her confession remains one of the coldest, most emotionless admissions of guilt in criminal history. Not because of what she said, but because of how she said it. Like killing 7 people was just another day at the office. Case 5. The Green River Killer, the Bargain Confession. "I'll tell you where all the bodies are, but I want a deal." Gary Ridgway said those words in 2003, 21 years after his first murder. He wasn't confessing out of guilt. He wasn't having a breakdown. He wasn't seeking forgiveness. He was making a business deal. This is the story of America's most prolific serial killer, and the confession that was basically a hostage negotiation with human lives as currency. For over 2 decades, the Green River Killer haunted Seattle. Bodies of young women kept turning up near the Green River and throughout King County. Prostitutes, runaways, vulnerable women that society often ignored. The killer was smart, methodical. He left very little evidence and seemed to know exactly how to avoid getting caught. Police had one suspect they kept coming back to, Gary Ridgway, a truck painter who lived in the area. They questioned him multiple times, even gave him a lie detector test in 1984. He passed it. For 20 years, Ridgway continued killing while living a completely normal life. He went to work, came home to his wife, attended church on Sundays. His neighbors thought he was just a quiet, ordinary guy. But he was murdering women and dumping their bodies like garbage. By 2001, DNA technology had advanced enough for police to revisit old evidence. They tested samples from some of the earliest crime scenes. Gary Ridgway's DNA was a match. They arrest him in November 2001. He's 52 years old, been killing for decades, and suddenly facing the death penalty for multiple murders. Most serial killers in this situation do one of two things. They deny everything, or they have a complete mental breakdown. Ridgway does something different. He gets a lawyer and starts calculating. His attorney tells him the facts. Washington state has the death penalty. The evidence against him is solid. If convicted, he's almost certainly going to die. But there's one thing Ridgway has that prosecutors want more than his execution: information. Dozens of families have been waiting decades for answers. Where are their daughters? Their sisters? Their mothers? Police have only found some of the bodies. They know there are more victims out there. Ridgway knows where they all are. So in 2003, his lawyer approaches prosecutors with an offer that sounds like something out of a mob movie. My client will confess to every murder he committed and tell you where all the bodies are located. In exchange, you take the death penalty off the table. It's the most cold-blooded negotiation in criminal justice history. Ridgway is literally trading corpses for his life. The prosecutors face an impossible choice: execute one killer or get closure for dozens of families. They take the deal. What happens next is unlike any confession in American history. Ridgway sits down with detectives and starts talking. But this isn't an emotional breakdown or a guilty conscience finally speaking up. This is a business transaction. I killed her in 1982, he says about his first victim, pointing to a location on a map. Body's buried about 50 feet from that tree. He's not showing remorse. He's providing a service. Over several months, Ridgway confesses to 71 murders. 71. But here's the truly unbelievable part. He talks about each victim like their inventory in a warehouse. The one from July 1983, blonde hair, about 20 years old. I left her body near the airport. No names. No recognition that these were human beings. Just locations and descriptions. Detectives ask him why he killed so many women. His answer is chilling in its simplicity. I thought I was doing you guys a favor, killing prostitutes. Here you guys can't control them, but I can. He actually thought he was helping society by committing mass murder. The confession sessions go on for months. Ridgway leads police to body after body. Some victims had been missing for over 20 years. Families finally get answers, even if those answers are delivered by the man who destroyed their lives. But even during these confessions, Ridgway never stops negotiating. When prosecutors want more details about a particular murder, he reminds them of their deal. When they push too hard, he threatens to stop talking. He's treating his own confession like a business contract with terms and conditions. In December 2003, Gary Ridgway pleads guilty to 48 counts of murder. Later, he adds more confessions, bringing his total to 71 confirmed kills. The judge sentences him to life in prison without parole, plus 480 years. During his sentencing, families of his victims get to speak. They cry, they rage, they demand to know why. Ridgway listens with the same blank expression he had during his confessions. When given a chance to speak, he offers a scripted apology that sounds like it was written by his lawyer. He shows about as much emotion as someone apologizing for being late to work. Gary Ridgway is now 75 years old, sitting in a Washington state prison cell. He got exactly what he wanted, his life. But he spent it all in a concrete box, which might be a worse fate than the death penalty he was trying to avoid. The Green River Killer turned his confession into the ultimate bargaining chip. He traded 71 admissions of murder for 71 more years of life. It was the coldest negotiation in criminal history, where human lives became currency and justice became just another business deal. Tell us in the comments section which case shocks you the most. Subscribe to our channel for more chilling stories that you won't find anywhere. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.